In this week's headlines, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs launches a website dedicated to the Belizean diaspora. We sit down with the newly appointed National Sports Director. Toledo residents get solar lights, and the Beyond the Horizon project wraps up. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 16th, 2017. I'm Charlie Hutchinson. Belizeans living abroad can now get more involved with what's happening on the mainland thanks to the efforts of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and its Diaspora program. Here's more on this story.
www.diasporaofbelize.org is the new information hub for Belizeans living abroad. The website, which was launched today, June 16th, is a part of the government's Diaspora program, an initiative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for which Cabinet approved establishment on September 3, 2009. This week, we spoke with Consul General His Excellency Herman Longsworth of the new Consulate of Belize in New York, who has been leading the charge on the website.
We thought that we would try to create a medium, if you will, through which people living in the diaspora can not only know what is happening back home, but people back home can know what is happening in the diaspora. Also, one of the intents is to try to be able to map the diaspora, to be able to find out who is where in the diaspora, what skills they have that can benefit Belize, and that sort of thing. So we've created a web portal that will do all that.
In addition to providing information on the daily happenings in Belize, the website includes special features that will assist in a mapping exercise of the Belizean diaspora.
Part of the site that allows Belizeans to register, to be able to say who they are, say where they live, say what skills they have, what their educational background is, and that sort of thing, so that we can, for several reasons, be able to document that. There is a database. There's a database that all that information feeds into, and that is then compiled and stored for future use. Huh? There is, like I said before, the ability for organizations to register and tell us what it is they are doing in the work to help Belize.
The website will also provide information on available opportunities.
We're also going to be putting up on that website initiatives, opportunities that may impact on Belizeans living up here. For instance, coming out of the international organizations, we're hoping in Washington, there is the OAS, here in New York, there is the United Nations. Whenever there are opportunities coming out of these organizations that Belizeans can take advantage of, we want to be able to advertise it and put it up on this website so they know that it is happening.
While the intended audience is the diaspora, the Consul General says that Belizeans at home are also welcomed to peruse the site to learn about the work their fellow Belizeans are doing.
There is so much that happens out here in the diaspora that local Belizeans back home don't know and are not fully appreciative of. A lot of people do a lot of things for people back home. Belizeans back home don't know. So I would hope that coming out of this, there can be created a much more accurate picture of what the Belizean diaspora represents.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Wilfred Elrington shared with us why this program is crucial to the government and, by extension, Belizeans.
They have a tremendous role to play in the country's development. So a lot of them send back remittances. A lot of them support their families who are here. They acquire tremendous amount of knowledge and skill in the new professions and occupations that they engage in abroad. And they can use that education and skill to enhance and improve the situation back here at home. especially now with the ease of telecommunication and the ease of travel, we can have the benefit of their expertise and knowledge instantaneously. And that we need desperately if we are to develop our society.
The website also features updates on the Belize-Guatemala dispute, something the minister says the diaspora has shown much interest in.
Presently, we have the education campaign on the Belize-Guatemala issue, and we are getting a lot of requests from the diaspora for information, education materials, interaction with the education unit, referendum unit. So we have to try to reach out to them, and those are some of the things that we have been doing.
For those in the diaspora who wish to be more involved, the minister says it's quite easy.
Pick up the phone, call, and we are going to be happy to respond to get them more engaged.
Visitors to the site can also view a listing of Belize consulates and embassies worldwide. The website will be managed and maintained by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencius.
The Grid Earth Project is a charity launched in 2008 by couple Jack and Audrey Cochran, members of Rotary District 5870 in Texas. The goal of the project is to provide solar-powered lights to communities living without electricity. We spoke to the Cochrans, who were recently in the Toledo district for their annual distribution.
After visiting the village of Bamba in 2003 and learning of that village and others in the country that were not connected to the national grid to receive electricity, Jack and Audrey Cochran decided that they would find a way to assist families in avoiding the use of kerosene lamps and candles to provide light in their homes. According to the co-founders, the Grid Earth Project was founded to provide safe light for children and families in Belize, eliminating the use of kerosene and candles, thus saving money and avoiding the risks of fires and burn injuries.
According to the World Health Organization, nearly 1,000 people a day die from kerosene lamps, and most of them are under 16 years of age. On top of that, the respiratory disease and illness that it causes in small children is immense.
In this day and age, with all the technology we have in the world, why are children still studying by candlelight?
It took a few years for the plan to be put in motion as the Cochrans searched for what they believe would be the right solution.
White LEDs had not quite been perfected, so it took several years before the technology caught up to the idea. And once it was available, we
immediately contacted the village of Bamba again. We were able to get in touch with the chairwoman, and the chairwoman at that time was Maggie. And she said, oh no, they still didn't have electricity. And so we coordinated with her to provide a solar lamp for every household in the village of Bamba.
And shortly after that, the Department of Rural Development visited Bamba and the RCDO, and then contacted me by email and wanted to know if it was possible to repeat that project.
Our role is that we coordinate the distribution, and we also deal with the duty exemption for the lights. Presently, we have donated over 3,000 lights countrywide. We started in Belize District, Kaya District, then we went north, now we are down south. This last visit, we donated over 600 solar lights.
The user-friendly devices have been distributed one per household. As the donors explained it, it is a very simple, compact solar light. It has a solar panel on one side, and on the other side it has white LED lights with several brightness settings and is designed to be used for several days without being recharged.
This little compact light will last for years and years, and on the bright setting, if it's hung at about 6 or 7 feet in the air, will light an average size room just like a 60-watt light bulb would.
We revisit many of the villages, giving them a year or two with the lights to go back and see if they're still utilizing them, if they're holding up, if they've embraced them, if it's a sustainable project. And everywhere we go, they love the light.
Our last visit down south, we donated to a remote village, Graham Creek, And I understand at the night time, all of them came together with their lights and they were fascinated that they had lights at night. The whole idea, though, is that the children are able to do their homework at night without inhaling the soot from kerosene, the smoke that is dangerous to the lungs.
Apart from improving health and financial conditions, the Cochranes hope that the long-term benefits of the project would be better economic conditions for the beneficiaries.
So by getting away from kerosene and candles and switching to solar-powered light, we're able to provide the children a safe environment and a better environment in which to learn and study.
So if the children have a safe way to study, brighter light to learn by, they'll be able to continue their education and hopefully get better jobs and have a better life.
So what's next for Grid Earth in Belize?
After we have lighted up all the homes that are not connected, we are now looking at the schools. We're in discussion right now with Grid Earth to take it to another phase.
The Cochranes have partnered with various Rotary clubs to seek funding for the project, which is also being implemented by Rotary clubs around the world.
It is a global initiative, but our heart's in Belize, and this is where we work.
For Belize Now, I'm Miriam Longsworth.
After the break, more stories. Stay with us.
Today I'll be answering for those of you who may be wondering, am I making enough milk to breastfeed? In the first few days after birth, your breast makes an ideal first milk called colostrum. Colostrum is thick, yellowish and scant, but there is plenty to meet your baby's nutritional needs. Colostrum helps a baby's digestive tract develop and prepare itself to digest breast milk. Most babies lose a small amount of weight within the first 3 to 5 days after birth. This is unrelated to breastfeeding. As your baby needs more milk and nurses more, your breast responds by making more milk. Experts recommend breastfeeding exclusively. No formula, juices, or water for 6 months. If you supplement with formula, your breast might make less milk. Even if you breastfeed for less than the recommended 6 months, it is better to breastfeed for a short period of time than no time at all. You can add solid food at 6 months, but also continue breastfeeding if you want to keep producing milk.
This message was brought to you by NCFC and Special Envoy for Women and Children.
If anyone present should know of any just cause why these persons should not be joined in holy matrimony, let him now declare it.
Nobody nothing know, say me and you a touch. Nobody nothing know, say you a give it up. Nobody nothing know, say you come over me yard. Baby, you know me love you bad. Nobody nothing know, say me and you a touch. Nobody nothing know, say you a give it up.
Are you positive you are negative? Get tested. Know your status. Free testing is available at Ministry of Health clinics and BFLA centers nationwide.
Mr. Ian Jones is the new National Director at the National Sports Council, and this week we sat with him to discuss his plans and the work of the Council.
The National Sports Council is a statutory body tasked with the oversight of all sporting organizations, federations, and activities both locally and internationally. The Council is responsible for the development of athletes from the amateur to the semi-professional stage. Additionally, the Sports Council is responsible for the maintenance of sporting facilities in the country. Mr. Ian Jones, National Director at the National Sports Council, spoke to us more on this.
One of my key priorities right now is to get our facilities up to more than usable condition, but up to par, because without the facilities, we really and truly can't play the sports. And it's not just one sport, it's across the board. North to south, we want to bring all the venues up to par. And we've noticed that just with the little things we've been doing at Marion Jones, you see people starting to use the facility more and they're more appreciative of the facility.
With one of the smallest budgets, the Sports Council is making strategic moves to efficiently utilize its funds. They've made some small but significant changes so far.
Something I proposed to the board, which they readily agreed to, was for us to have our own in-house maintenance manager, somebody who is skilled enough to be able to supervise that type of work. So then the jobs or the construction jobs, the contracts get done directly from the office rather than outsourcing it to a contractor. We did wonders with that at the Marion Jones fence. If you guys were to pass out there, you'd see that it's freshly painted. It was pressure washed, cleaned, and painted. And the fence is very beautiful right now, and it adds back some life to Marion Jones.
While the focus is the maintenance of major sporting facilities, the council has also partnered with various communities to improve their facilities.
On top of our government-owned facilities, we have identified several key sporting facilities within the communities, mostly on the south side of Belize and in the rural parts of the country, where the facilities are heavily used, but they were to a state of almost, they have deteriorated to an extensive state. So we have decided to find the funds to put back into these sporting entities, because something that we believe is that sports in the community plays a great role in terms of youth development, and it lessens the violence and the criminal activities in the communities.
This year, parents can expect to see changes in how summer camps are hosted by the Sports Council. Jones tells us more.
What we're also planning to do is to somewhat restructure the way we do summer camps. Rather than host them at a Sports Council facility only, we'll go into the communities. We'll have our coordinators do sporting camps within the communities, so that then we can have the kids from not too far from their homes to come and participate. So our plan is to take it to the community rather than have the community have to come to us.
Jones was a part of a delegation to Cuba led by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, Honorable Patrick Faber, where sports was a key discussion. He told us some of the plans that have been birthed from that trip.
One of the key things that we're targeting is how to put sports into the curriculum, the educational curriculum, to somewhat make it mandatory, because it's not only about developing athletes, but it's about changing the mindset and the lifestyles of you start from kids. That way we'll have a healthier population rather than, obesity is a problem in Belize, but if we instill in the kid from a young age that, sports, being active, it makes you healthier. So we are seeking technical assistance from the Cuban government in terms of how to properly structure such a program. It won't be an overnight thing, it's more of a medium-term to a long-term plan.
Improving the curriculum also requires greater numbers and enhancing the skills of the people who will take charge of these programs. This includes more scholarships in sports medicine and physiotherapy. Jones told us a bit more.
Human resources, that is what is always lacking when it comes to sports. The proper human resources in terms of trainers, physiotherapists, that sort of thing. And so we have, again, seek technical advice from the Cuban government in assisting us in training our trainers, or training our people. For example, one of the requests I've put out is to have trainers come in to train all the primary school physical education teachers, because having a PE teacher and having a PE teacher who's trained in physical education are two different tangents. It's not just, I will announce that you're the PE teacher and then you don't know what you're doing. And it's all across the board when it comes to that. In terms of from that level right up until the semi-pro level, is that we lack that human resource and that technical expertise, and that is something we're trying to fix as much as we possibly can.
The new director of the Sports Council remains optimistic and hopeful.
For me, sports is life, and sitting in the seat of the director, it has opened up my eyes as to what more we can do, and it has opened up to my eyes as to what we are lacking. And so I'll do the best I can in terms of, I'm not going to say fix the problem, but at least small in the gap in terms of what it is we need to accomplish from the Sports Council in order to better sports and to move sports into a different direction in Belize.
For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencius.
Beyond the Horizon, an $11.5 million project aimed at assisting the people of Belize through humanitarian efforts officially came to an end on Thursday, June 15th. Through Beyond the Horizon, numerous medical and educational facilities were constructed in Belize, and 16,834 Belizeans were provided with free medical and dental services. Dignitaries from the government of Belize made their remarks at the closing ceremony.
That the business of building our nation is everybody's business. And when we have a gift like Beyond the Horizons 2017, which gives in the areas of health and education and sharing of people, like what the Charge d'Affaires said, and communities, as your military attaché corrected, then we have the ultimate gift being given. And I wish to thank the U.S. military, but first the U.S. government and people for this wonderful contribution.
This year, the exercise comprised of 5 major project areas and included the renovation of buildings and medical facilities, and also the construction of some new buildings and government facilities. The Western Regional Hospital has benefited from a new emergency room expansion, a new incinerator house, and incinerator installation. I'm especially grateful for this achievement as the people of Belmopan, the people of my constituency and its surroundings, will gain most from these facilities. So on behalf of the people of Belmopan and surrounding areas, I say thank you. St. Matthew's Government School has a new building complete with brand new bathroom and facilities. And both Doublehead Cabbage and Ladyville have brand new medical centers.
Brigadier generals from both the U.S. Army and the Belize Defense Force spoke on the project.
Together we provided medical and dental treatment for more than 16,000 patients. We worked together to build 5 construction and engineering projects and bring 3 healthcare events to this beautiful country. During the past 3 months, 2 million hours of work have been poured into every structure and framework of the new schools and hospital additions here. Over 7,000 tons of concrete have been poured, while 16,000 bricks have been laid to provide facilities where teachers, students, doctors, nurses, and patients will be better able to fulfill their daily responsibility in serving others.
Exercise Beyond the Horizon 2017 has now concluded, but it has done so fruitfully. It has brought to Belize a medical facility in Belmopan, one in Ladyville, one in Doublehead Cabbage, and also a school building in St. Matthew's Village. They also conducted 3 medical exercises. One was done in Ladyville, one in San Ignacio, and the other one in Dangriga. It has provided service to approximately 17,000 Belizeans that were seen for medical care and treatment. The buildings in particular are beautifully constructed and are the result of hard work, sweat, and dedication to duty of the men and women of the U.S. forces and members of the Belize Defense Force who worked with them shoulder to shoulder until the buildings were completed.
The project was a collaborative exercise between the U.S. Army South Command, the Belize Defense Force, the Ministries of Defense, Health and Education, as well as partner nations such as Trinidad and Tobago and Colombia. It consisted of 5 construction projects and 3 medical service events. 54 persons from across the country have received training in suicide prevention through a partnership between the Youth Resilience and Inclusive Social Empowerment RISE project, Galen University, and Quebec. The workshops were one of the first activities under the recently launched Youth RISE project and took place in the Cayo and Stan Creek districts between June 8th and 13th, 2017. The training sought to build on the skill set of the participants, including how to assess and recognize possible suicide cases, how to respond and provide basic counseling to persons at risk, and also looked at strengthening service networks to know when, how, and to whom to refer. The workshops were co-facilitated by Drs. Guy and Jill Ilogin of the Citadel Graduate College in Charleston, South Carolina, and Kendra Hoyt of Galen University.
Myself and Guy Ilogin with the Citadel in South Carolina have been working hard at putting together two-day workshops for both Cayo and Stan Creek District, focused on suicide prevention and working with the communities around cultural stuff that's related.
From what I've seen so far, the youth workers in Belize are doing a fantastic job. We just hope to bolster the specific skills to identify students who are at risk. The specific skills are to sit down with a young person and make an assessment as to their level of risk for suicide. And then if their risk is deemed to be medium or high, then they come up with a safety plan to make sure that the young people are safe. Sometimes the safety plan includes getting an emergency response to get the students to the hospital. Sometimes the safety plan is in order to get the young person to commit to following up with that youth worker for continued counseling.
Participants included persons who actively work with youth within community safety nets, such as school counselors, social workers, and counselors from the Ministry of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation, the Department of Youth Services, the Community Policing Unit, and professionals from the IT Vet.
This workshop is important because it will be able to teach the stakeholders how to interact with when the issue come up or when a problem come up, and they will be able to assess and be able to deal with the issue at that point instead of just using those different methods that may not work. This is like the proper method to use to handle those issues based on suicide.
It has given me time to really think about the situation when you think about suicide. I haven't really actually gotten any case so far as it pertains to suicide, but this workshop has opened my mind to think about in the event that it comes up.
The workshop has been very fantastic. It helps me to go back to my station and do an even better job in trying to identify students who are at risk and making sure that they don't fall through the cracks.
The workshops were carried out under the Enhancement of Therapeutic Responses component, which seeks to strengthen the delivery of care and support to families and children who have interfaced with the child protection system due to child abuse and neglect, in addition to building the capacity of service providers and substitute care providers. After the break, our segment In Case You Missed It. Don't go anywhere.
Did you know that breastfeeding benefits your baby? Breast milk provides the ideal nutrition for infants. It has a nearly perfect mix of vitamin, protein, and fat, everything your baby needs to grow. And it's all provided in a form easily digested than infant formula. Breast milk contains antibodies that help your baby fight off virus and bacteria. Breastfeeding lowers your baby's risk of having asthma or allergy. Plus, babies who are breastfed exclusively for 6 months without any formula have fewer ear infection, respiratory illness, and bouts of diarrhea. They also have fewer hospitalization and trips to the doctor. Breastfeeding has been linked to higher IQ in some studies. What's more, the physical closeness, skin-to-skin touching, and the eye contact all help your baby bond with you and feel secure. Breastfed infants are more likely to gain right amount of weight as they grow rather than becoming overweight. The American Academy of Pediatrics says breastfeeding has also played a role in the prevention of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. It's been thought to lower the risk of diabetes, obesity, and certain cancer as well. But more research is needed.
This message was brought to you by NCFC and Special Envoy for Women and Children.
The Department of Transport, DOT, enforcement officers will be engaged in monthly countrywide traffic enforcement activities, which will entail routine vehicle checkpoints and high-visibility patrols. The DOT is embarking on this new strategic operation throughout Belize in an effort to educate, sensitize, and enforce the motor vehicle and road traffic laws of Belize, with the view of bringing about awareness and to curb the behavior of those blatant violators who constantly breach the law, thus creating problems within our traffic system. His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain received the credentials from the Ambassador of Belize, His Excellency Dylan Vernon, one of the 5 ambassadors to present their letters of credence on June 15th at the Royal Palace of Madrid. The credential letters are the document that accredits a foreign ambassador as representative and maximum diplomatic authority of another country in Spain. The ambassadors traveled from the Palace of Santa Cruz, the official headquarters of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, to the Royal Palace. They were escorted by the squadron of the Royal Guard on horseback and the squadron of beaters of the Municipal Police. After a brief encounter with the head of state, the ambassadors left the Royal Palace in the official vehicle to the chords of the Hymn of Spain. The ceremony of delivery to the head of state goes back to the 18th century. And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time.